Are you ready?
Yes.
You sure you're ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Are the birds ready?
The bird's ready. The little duck is very much floating on top of the table.
It's a loon.
Is that a loon?
Yeah.
Loony. And the little blue with the yellow beak, what is that?
That's your mascot.
I love that guy.
It's a seagull. The people have been asking about your socks. They missed the socks.
What am I wearing?
Ponies.
I'm wearing pony socks. The socks are still around, guys. Welcome back to this week's episode. We are now in towards mid-July.
Yes, summer's flying.
Summer is going by way too fast. Yesterday, Justin and I and Austin got to hang out at the hangar a little bit. We cut some wood.
Yes.
We made the first steps into the desk.
The desk.
The sad thing was I really do wish that our friend Greg, who listens,
Yes.
who's a listener to Two Hot Takes at least, I know for sure, the machine did not work well to go cut all of it. Oh, I know what it was, because one of the sheets was short, and we couldn't get all the exact cutouts in my fill list. So we had to do it by hand.
Yeah.
Which made it a little more difficult.
We're doing all right. It'll come together.
Do we have a theme today?
I think the theme will reveal itself.
Okay, well,
as we progress through.
I can't wait to see what it turns out to be. So we by the way, everybody, I must apologize for, I think last week's episode, I was passing out during the read. We were filming it late at night, and I've been kind of going around the clock. We've all been working, and I apologize to you, but I'm wide awake. We're on Sunday morning, and we're rocking and rolling.
Off we go.
So let's go. Story number one.
Number one. Hi, Dad, Justin, and or Morgan, and whoever else may be there. I have a problem I need help with, and I think Jerry may be uniquely qualified to answer.
Why?
I, 32 female, have a family friend who I had some spicy moments with years ago. He shares a name with my dad and introduced me to my very toxic ex-boyfriend. So there wasn't really a way I felt comfortable moving forward with a relationship with him. We kind of grew apart, and I'm regretting losing the friendship and trust that was there. It has almost been 15 years since we last spoke. I recently had some events happen involving my brothers-in-law and a few friends' relationships ending over their husbands secretly being awful people. I'm seeing the areas where we're letting down the young and not connecting enough, and I just feel the urge to reach out to my old friend and see if he's actually okay. I'm only interested in friendship. Again, happily married going on 5 years, but I don't know how to go about reaching out or what to say without it seeming like too much, and how to navigate it with my husband. Ideal outcome, I'd like to have some sort of friendship with my old friend. We don't have to be the closest, but I'd like to know he's doing all right and not just surviving. Open to talking about the uncomfortable stuff with him if I need to, but I'm very opposed to talking about it to my family. Additional info, I'm sure my husband would understand to some extent, but I'm the only partner my husband has had, and I'm not 100% on if he'd actually understand it.
The most important thing in a relationship is trust. And I think that if you share with your husband first that there was this friendship, that this is not a thing about trying to start a relationship with somebody else, but it's simply that I had a friend that I abandoned, and I have guilt because I do miss that friendship, that I'd like to reach out. I plan to reach out, and we are a couple. He is a couple. And in all respect, I'm going to say I'm in respect of your relationship, and I'm in a relationship. I'm married, but I do miss our friendship. And I just wanted to check in with you and just see how you are and let you know that I appreciated our friendship. Yesterday I had a call from, a person that's in my far past and not so far past. She called and she said she recently had lost her son in the last year or so, and he was 24. She called me and I can hear she was crying. And I said, "You're crying, what's going on?" And she said, I was going through, things of my son.
Mhm.
And I found that he wrote a story when he was 9 years old or 8 years old that, I felt so proud today that I rode my bike. I learned to ride a bike, and my mom's boyfriend taught me how to ride a bike. And then when I worked 2 days to figure it out and get there. And when I finally did it, he goes, I felt I was Superman. And she
Yep.
read the story to me. And not that there is anything between us. I mean, I've certainly moved on, and that part of a relationship is not present, our intimate side. But the fact that we have that love for one another, that will always be because she meant something to me. And I evidently have always meant something to her, even though not in the sexual or physical side, but as a friend that we knew we could always rely upon. And there's no insecurity on either side. If I was in a relationship that was to take place, with somebody else, they will certainly know about that relationship, and they would certainly know about the phone call.
Yeah.
Because it really wasn't one of physicality, it was one about friendship. And there was nothing to be jealous of. So I think that both of you would have to make sure that it was done in the theme of not to disrupt the respect for each other's mate, and that you guys can all be friends. And I've had a lot of people that were my past relationship that we are friends, where there's nothing physical between us, and we're able to keep those boundaries in our past, because if those feelings were still there, then obviously we wouldn't have separated. We wouldn't have gone that other direction.
Yeah.
So that's my advice. Do it very honestly, openly. See how the friend responds, and say, look, I would love to meet you. And you could even say, I'd love to meet your wife. I'm in respect of your relationship, but this is not a connection of disrespect. It's all out of respect.
Yeah. So really, it's all about the openness. I think a lot of people have trouble when in a relationship determining what things are considered that you should be open about, and what you don't necessarily need to be. Because you also don't have to tell your partner every single thing. Like, I went to the bathroom at 10 a.m. and then I got up and I got dressed and then I did this. Like, you're going to overload someone at some point if you're too open. But I think maybe if you're considering that it could potentially be misconstrued,
Right,
or could be a problem down the line if you don't just disclose it up front,
this is
then
when
maybe that's the threshold of maybe I should just, keep them in the loop, because why not? Because when people see things sometimes as harmless, right? Oh, I'm just going to reconnect with my old friend. Harmless, right? I'm totally loyal. I'm not going to do anything. Some people say, well, I don't need to tell my partner because it's harmless. But maybe the best route is just to be open either way.
especially in this case. I smell that you need to be open, direct, and that will also govern your relationship as well with this person, of keeping it exactly where it is, friends, and you're opening to everybody that this is really the intent.
Yeah.
If that really is the intent, if you have problems in your marriage and you're reaching out because you have a problem in your marriage, and you're
Different ballgame.
that's a different ballgame. And that's a different approach. But if this is really the honesty of it, keep it honest. Keep
Yeah.
it clean.
I don't think it's ever wrong to check in and see if someone's okay.
Right.
Hey, how are you doing? Good. It's what that leads to that matters.
Agreed.
Okay.
Ready for number 2?
On to number 2. Hi, you can call me Nellie.
Hello, Nellie.
To cut to the chase, I completely fell in love with a man after the first date. He's kind, attractive, respectful, talented, dedicated, and funny. He made me laugh and feel safe. We shared some interests, but had enough distinct ones that I felt like we could learn from each other. I am completely head over heels. We agreed to have it be casual, but I made it 3 more dates before I told him I wanted something more, and he turned me down. We decided to keep our distance for a while to make things simpler until we can be friends again. This actually just happened like an hour ago, and I feel pretty numb. I have dated around a lot in the past year and have been in long-term relationships previously. I've never felt this way before. I'm worried I'll never feel this way again. I'm feeling angry and achingly sad, but I know this was the best outcome for what the situation was. I'm going back to school in 2 weeks and I need to have my head on straight by then, but I feel like I'll never get over this. As silly as it sounds, I just need someone to tell me that everything will be okay sooner or later. Ideal outcome, be at peace with what happened, not blame myself or feel deficient in some way, and be happy with the life I have.
I will tell you, it will heal. I will tell you that you will find someone much stronger and a more balanced relationship where the wheel's not out of balance. And it's just going to take time. I've been there. I'm giving you out of experience. A number of years ago, I thought I would never recover from somebody. And it wasn't a short while. It was a long while before, things healed and the grief of what I believed could have been in that relationship goes away.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, you will meet somebody. It naturally happens. And when you're healed, that's when you open the door for the possibility to let the next person or whatever in that future take to the depth. And it may not happen overnight. Don't expect it to.
Yeah.
But you definitely need to do what you did. It's accept it that it was not that it's you. It's just whatever the relationship was with the two of you, it didn't rock his world at this point to say, I wanted to. And look, this just happened yesterday, theoretically.
Yeah.
Go silent, go on, show that you can do this. And who knows what this other person will miss as well. And I'm not saying the person's coming back. Don't misunderstand me. But it will be interesting to see if there's any thought that this other individual is going to go through that could be shared. But definitely move on. Don't wait. Not for a second. And by the way, I'm not telling you to move on just to go start dating. I'm telling you to move on by going and keeping yourself active and busy and fill your life with other positive energies that will help with as fertilizer to help make this, bare spot in the grass grow over. And that gets you healthy. You have a healthy lawn. I hate to be metaphorical, but really it's true. And you'll go on with your life and you'll go on to the next chapters. And I wish you well. So what you ask for, you definitely get from me. It will be fine. You will move on, you will grow, and you'll be stronger and you have a better relationship just from this experience to what you liked about this person, that the next persons that you find interesting, you will only go out with people that do feel some of these things that you did like.
Right.
And you'll stay away from the crud.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite the experience when you have an amazing first date, have an amazing second, third, fourth, and it just feels, nothing feels like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's in its own category, and it's almost harder when you have all those butterflies, so much excitement. It's like, you're...
Is the word euphoric?
Sure. Yeah, it's like... It's unlike anything else, and it's almost harder to have a breakup. Well, it's not even really a breakup because you weren't official, but it's almost harder to have that big ramp up and then just fall. There's something that's just so crushing about that time. Not that it's worse than a breakup down the line, but it's just different because you are kind of building up that excitement of being together and, what could it be like? And you're so vulnerable. And even though you haven't known each other long and it shouldn't be that hard, it can really hit hard sometimes.
I find that with ones that come on strong like that end that fast, are easier to get over. You move on quicker. It isn't because you don't have that depth of all that history and all that other stuff that goes with it. You only have the euphoric side of it.
Yeah.
And that part does heal quicker. So give yourself a break and just see how fast you'll see that it healed. You'll go back in 2 months from this thing and you'll say, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I can move on. That was an easy one. It's when you let them go on and on and on and you're fighting for the relationship and you're grasping for every good straw that's there, that really becomes more difficult later to replace.
Well, I will say too, I've been with Morgan for 7-ish years now. during all those years, my friends were in and out of all these different relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw them heartbroken. I've seen them come back from it multiple times when they thought this is the end of the world. I mean, each time it was like, this is the end of the world.
I've been there.
And it almost was harder and harder each time because it's like, they start to get to a point where, will I find my person? Will I get there?
Mm-hmm.
What is something wrong with me? But I will say every single time they healed, they got over them, they found someone better and someone they connected with even more, even though they thought that wasn't possible.
Mm-hmm.
They just kept climbing up. So I've seen it, though I haven't experienced it many times in my life. I had one really bad breakup, but I've seen it in front of me in recent times over and over of them just getting back on their feet, getting back out there and, better for it.
I'm 68 coming September, guys. Trust me, I can name the ones. And it's not one occasion that I've been through this. I went through this thing when I was 26. I went through when I was 30. I went through it again at probably 65 or 60, 62. I mean, I've been through it a number of times where I remember when I got engaged and it didn't work out. I didn't know how I would survive it. I really didn't. I thought that that was the end of ever being able to have those feelings again and share that kind of relationship with somebody. And it was insanity. But I will tell you, as much as I thought I would never heal and I lost all inspiration, trust me, you come back.
Yeah. That goes for all breakups. Mm-hmm. Whether you're 3 dates in, whether you're 3 years in, 30 years in, you can come back.
You definitely will come back.
Get back on the horse.
So certainly do not give up. Do not think about it. Just find yourself. Find your own balance in the things that you like to do, and you will meet people in that area, and you'll have fun. So
okay,
let's go on to number 3.
Number 3. All right. Hi, Jerry, Morgan, and Justin. I'm currently pregnant and trying to figure out if the man I'm having this baby with is someone I can actually build a future with, or if I'm just trying to force something that's never been real. We've been together about 2 years, and from the start, things have been complicated. Early on, most of our conflict centered around my ex and co-parenting. He would criticize the way I handled things with my son's father, even though I genuinely felt like I was doing the best I could for my son. It felt like I was being judged instead of supported. Over time, it became a pattern of double standards and shifting blame. He'd get upset about small things I did, but anytime I had a concern about his behavior, it was brushed off or flipped back on me. Still, I stayed, hoping it was just growing pains and that we'd find a healthier rhythm. But recently, everything came crashing down. I found a series of old texts on his phone from 6 months to a year ago. They were flirty, sexual, and absolutely crossed boundaries. These weren't random messages. They were part of ongoing conversations with multiple women, some of whom he has history with. This was all happening while we were together, while he was spending time with my son, and while we were talking about building a future. When I brought it up, he got more upset that I went through his phone than he was about what I actually found. He eventually admitted he had been shitty, but continued to deflect by bringing up a message I deleted over a year ago where my ex was speaking poorly about him, which I only deleted to avoid conflict, truly not because I was hiding anything inappropriate. To make things worse, all of this is surfacing after we just went through a separate situation recently with a female friend of his. We'll call her Sarah, where I was once again made to feel crazy and insecure for raising concerns. And now, knowing what I know, it doesn't feel like an isolated issue anymore. It feels like a pattern. I feel incredibly hurt, confused, and honestly kind of used. Had I known he was texting other girls, entertaining old flings, and then coming over to play house with me and my son, I never would have asked him to move in. I feel like I made huge life decisions based on things that weren't true. I do still love him. I want to believe people can change, especially with a baby on the way. But the more I step away from the situation, the more I feel like I'm the only one who has taken any of this seriously. And now I'm scared, not just for me, but for the baby I'm about to bring into this world and the emotional stability of the child I already have. Am I just hormonal and overthinking it, or am I finally seeing things for what they are? Thank you so much for reading this. I really value your perspective. A very tired and very hurt mama.
Listen, Mama, I'm telling my idea or my experience rings, it is time to say goodbye and invite him to move out. After he moves out, you'll weigh out to see how this relationship continues. But you certainly do not give this guy the relationship that he thinks he has with you, as far as monogamy. He's the man in your life. He is the baby daddy. That's where he is. He wants to be your mate. Mates come with people that support one another, build each other stronger, and not sit there and criticize and bring you down and not manipulate you. The toughest thing in some of this stuff is when someone starts manipulating you and changing the way that you view stuff. It gets your radar off. I find a very, very, very hard no to any of that behavior. And the only way you're going to assure that that is not permitted is you're going to say, sorry, pal, that's not what my life is going to involve. And yes, you are this baby's dad. And yes, you are going to be a father, but that doesn't mean you're going to be my man. And I stay hard of that and say, if you're going to think you are going to be my man, then you have a dance to do. And I'm not buying your dance right now. You have no credibility with me. You've lost all trust. I don't trust you. And nothing you're going to say to defend yourself is going to change that. The only thing that's going to change that is time. And you're going to have to reinforce that by being truly what I want in a man to be in my life. And if you can go with that and his clarity and his, transparency and everything else, because he's only invalidated your trust with every action he's had, he's on double secret probation.
Yeah, for sure. I think a good way to build off of that is I'm going to read parts of the ideal outcome and intermix some thoughts as we go through it.
I'm going to sit here and listen.
So the first part of the ideal outcome, my ideal outcome is to feel emotionally safe, respected, and supported, both as a partner and as a mother. I want to be with someone who takes real accountability for their actions, not just when they're caught, but because they truly want to grow and do better. And I think the manipulation you're catching onto here reminds me a lot of DARVO, which is an acronym. DARVO is a manipulative tactic used by perpetrators to shift blame and responsibility in situations of abuse or wrongdoing. The acronym stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. It involves denying the abusive behavior, attacking the accuser's credibility, and then portraying the perpetrator as the victim. And with that, that's exactly what he's doing. And every time he's in the wrong, it's flipped and somehow she's the one who caused it. She's the one in the wrong. So I've had experience with this in the past, maybe not at this level, but there's a lot of people that can't take accountability and will never take accountability. And it's always someone else's problem, always someone else's fault. So then the ideal outcome continues. I want honesty, consistency, and a relationship built on mutual trust, not deflection, double standards, or secrecy. Whether that means staying together or walking away, I want peace, not confusion. I want to feel proud of the example I'm setting for my children. And more than anything, I want to feel like I'm building a life with someone who values me, shows up for me, and doesn't make me question whether I'm good enough. And I think that's the biggest piece of this, because that is exactly what you don't have right now.
She's got her list down in the correct order. Everything about your thought process is correct. Don't let someone destroy the radar of what your expectations are and what you're deserving of, and to take something that's less than. And everything that you brought up with Darvo, absolutely correct. I mean, we see it every day out there. We've all experienced people like this in our life. The question is, did we learn that that's a bad taste in our mouth and we got to avoid it? That's really what it is. And so take this bad taste, put it in your brain that this is bad, and now look for the right stuff that you are looking for. Because today you're not getting it.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I want to say you're an incredibly good writer. But also, if you just read through this, I think it becomes pretty clear. And I'm wondering if it became a little more clear to you as you were putting it down on paper. And the other thing is, you very clearly stated that this is a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a one-off. It's been something that's been happening over and over. And I think, as I've said many times, when you make a decision and it's based on a pattern, I think you're making the right decision because it's clearly not changing.
Mm-mm. And as if you were her brother and I was her dad and we're having this conversation with you, we would say we support you fully. We totally agree with your thought process. And boy, did you nail it right.
Yeah.
So, stay with your guns.
Yeah.
Truly. You have the right mindset.
Yeah. Let us know how this one evolves. As with all the stories, let us know. Keep us in the loop.
And protect those cubs.
Yeah. Yep.
We're going to move on to number 3.
On to number 4.
Oh, we're going to move on to number 4. Let's move on to number 4.
Trigger warning in this one, you guys. Mentions of suicide. So if you can't handle that today, jump on forward to the next one. Markers are in the description. Here we go.
I'm buckled in.
My father committed suicide when I was less than a year old. I have no memories of him, but I do have some pictures and even videos of him from before I was born. My mom loved vlogging and scrapbooking before it was even cool. I'm about to turn 26 in a few months, and I am absolutely in love with the life I've built for myself. I love my job. I'm in the healthiest and happiest relationship I've ever been in, and I'm slowly traveling the world as I've always wanted to. I'm so happy, but sometimes I really wish he was here to experience these moments with me. I wish I could hear his voice, his fatherly advice. Jerry, I'd love any kind of words of wisdom or fatherly advice you have for me, things you think my dad would want me to know, things you've taught to your own children, just overall words of wisdom. I'd appreciate it so much, and I know I'd read this over and over again smiling. Thank you, FKS fam, for being so monumentally influential in my life.
I'm going to reflect to a few circumstances regarding my parents. Friends of mine that have parents that left early. I do have friends like that they didn't get to enjoy their father fully. And I will let you know that in death, I believe and I feel there's only positive energy. And if you listen in the back of your head, Dad, what would you say? And if you feel any answer at all, even if you might think it's just your subconscious is saying, honey, I love you and you're doing great and I'm really glad to see you doing this, that could be his energy saying that to you. And accept it.
Yeah.
It's just, like I said, in death, apparently, energy never goes away. It always travels. It doesn't die. And so even though he doesn't have the physical plasma around him of a body, it doesn't mean that his energy isn't soaring through you. And, friends that are close to me, we've certainly have had experiences with them that they feel their parents. And I have a friend that's got very little of her father. She opened her safe box, like a jewelry box type of thing.
Yeah.
And all she has from her dad were a couple business cards and another piece of paper. I mean, nothing of value. And she has kept this all her life. She says, this is all I have of my dad. And you can see that it doesn't take a lot for someone to have that connection. It's valuable, priceless. So what you have, even if you have the thought, that is priceless. And the energy that he carries for you, I only have one thing to say. I believe that energy is present with you and he follows you.
So the father of the device is always there.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't always have to be Jerry.
But it's not coming from me. Listen to him. And I get the same thing from people that have passed in my life. I remember when I came up with my business idea, and some of you may think this is absolutely out of my head. I had an uncle that, called me a goofy name like, Putz Head.
Yeah.
And that initially. And a different word, but I'm gonna put it into that term. And I was in an experience in a church, in this case, a synagogue. And a woman walked in that her husband's light wasn't on, and I felt a hit on my head. And with a voice of way up there saying, Putz Head, fix it. And the answer is, only one that would ever say that is my uncle. And I heard it loud and clear. And that turned into a business for me. So you never know where it can come from, but listen to your subconscious, listen to the head, and sometimes just accept that could be your dad talking to you.
Yeah, for sure. I love this write-in. And if we could sit here for the next, 24 hours and just let Jerry think of every possible dad advice you could give, we would. But I think the first thought I have is this show through every episode is kind of a collection of all the advice you've given. Think of all the different topics we've covered. So really this show is a great representation of all of that advice, which would be amazing to compile and put into like a handbook one day or something. But I think this would be a really cool opportunity for all of the listeners, everyone listening right now, put in, whether you're a father yourself, throw some fatherly advice in the comments, or what's the best advice you've ever been given by your dad or anyone. Let's get a collection of all the best advice in the comments, and I think that'd be really fun for all of us to read through.
It would be fun, but I will say, if you ever have a question directly, I'm glad to give you advice that I would give someone that I care very much for, which is all of you. But I also really want you to listen to your inner head, because he is talking to you, and that's the loudest voice you will hear.
Yeah.
So listen to him.
Well, everyone, go put your advice in the comments. Be awesome. Love to see it.
I do too. Number 5.
Hi, FKS family. I've been a long-time listener, but I've never written in before. You can call me Sage.
Hello, Sage.
I, 29 female, got divorced from my 39 male ex-husband, Jim, last year because I came out as a lesbian. We were polyamorous for a few years before the marriage ended, and I began to see my current girlfriend, Lainey, 27 female, 2 years ago. I grew up really religious with anti-gay views all around me and didn't realize until I was 27 that I was a lesbian. I moved in with my girlfriend when I got divorced and moved 3 hours away. My issue that I'm writing to you about lies with my parents. They've come a long way in their views and say they accept me, but I know that my mom tells people that I'm living with a friend and only discloses to people that she knows for sure are pro-LGBTQ. This includes family members. What recently made me sad was when confirming plans to go visit my parents while they were camping. This is a yearly thing where me and my siblings all come to visit for a cookout, and one of the only times besides Christmas I get to see everyone. I told them that me and Lainey would be there by late morning and would have to leave by 7 p.m. in order to make the 3-hour drive home. My siblings were planning to be there from 4 to 8. I normally stay until 9. We just had to leave early because Lainey was leaving for a 10-day trip the next morning, and I had to drive her to the airport early. It was also our 2-year anniversary that day. My mom told me that I could always come visit with Lainey and I don't always have to bring her. This was confusing to me because in the 12 to 15 times I've visited since I've moved, I have had Lainey with me maybe 8 of them. They tell me they like her, and others around me do too. I visit more and for longer than I did when I was married to Jim and living 40 minutes away. They miss Jim, but they don't know the amount of emotional abuse and manipulation that happened, and I've had to set the boundary that I don't want to talk about him right now. He fits the stereotypical charming, nice guy, abuser prototype. Never once do they suggest I visit without him, even though I saw them less often and almost always with him along. I'm processing my relationship with Jim through therapy as my primary focus currently, and I'm still towards the beginning part of the healing process. Can I have your thoughts on the situation with my parents? Ideal outcome, that my parents are not ashamed to have a lesbian daughter. I live loudly and proudly, mostly because I didn't have anyone to show me I could be this way when I was a kid. I want to be visible to others who are scared to be themselves. I want to be able to talk about the abuse with my mom, but I believe she would try and defend him if I brought up instances of things not being okay.
I have certainly been brought up in a home where I have a sibling that is a lesbian, married, happily married. I've seen her in her early marriages where she was married in a heterosexual relationship, not happy, miserable. I went through where she came out. I know that she came out prior to all of us knowing, to her parents, to my mom and my dad. I know my dad was in denial of her feelings and what she felt with, and it was difficult.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I can really say is that we live in, I think, a better time than we did back, 40 years ago when it comes to homosexuality, and understanding that some people just find love and they don't look at a certain DNA marker that says, I'm allowed to go down this road or that road. They just say, whoever fills my heart.
Yeah.
So I think you just have to acknowledge that some people just don't get it. And they say they get it, but they don't know how to present it. So if you are able just to say, this is, my partner, which is a great thing. If you guys get married, this is my wife, if whatever that is. But, you say, it's really weird. Sometimes you'll say, this is my girlfriend. They don't know if it's your girlfriend because it's your lover or it's your best friend that you.
Right. Yeah.
So you can either be more defining, I guess, if it needs to be, if they need to get rocked in their world that this is my lover or this is my partner. Partner is a great word. It really does say it, I think, better than anything says it today.
Yeah.
Lover leaves I always like the word lover. Lover makes no coloration blends. I mean, it says right at what that person is to you.
Yeah, it's just something I would never say. Hey, everyone, this is my lover. But I know what you're trying to say because, a lot of times girls would be like, oh, I'm going on a trip with all my girlfriends.
Right.
And it is a term that can go either way.
Lover leaves no mistake.
But regardless, I mean, I'm curious how much you've laid down. I know your parents have made progress, and progress is good. But I wonder if you've laid down the hammer with your mom and said, stop telling people I'm living with a friend.
And also, when I show up with Lainey or without Lainey, it's just, Mom, when I show up, don't say, gee, you can come without Lainey. That's my feeling. If you want to see me, just say, I'm glad to see you, honey.
Yeah, right. And she's making sure to only disclose to people she knows are for sure pro-LGBTQ. Again, I'd just be like, listen, I am proud of who I am. I'm proud of the relationship I have. This is the life I'm living. And like she says, I'm living loud, I'm living proud. I think, I don't know how to make your mom truly get that. I hope they continue to change. But it's just got to be made very clear that this is affecting me in this way.
Justin, how many times have you showed up with Morgan to your family or Morgan come to us and say, oh, by the way, I'm a heterosexual? Never. No one ever says it. She'll come in and say, this is Justin, or you'll walk in saying, this is Morgan. And I know when you walk in the door, she's going to walk in either by herself or she's going to walk in with Justin. I never tell her, come by yourself. And that's the equality that she is seeking. And she just has to say, Mom, just take out the word LGBTQ. It's just, I'm coming in with the person who I share my life with. And get that. If we get married or we don't get married, this is my person. And you can even say, Mom, just say, this is Sage and her person. That's it. If you need to do that. But she is your person. That right now, she is your person.
Yeah. And I mean, she uses a term in here, my current girlfriend, Lainey.
Right.
So it's my girlfriend, Lainey.
That's it.
Whatever people are taking from it, whatever, but we don't need to play this whole game of trying to hide the fact that you're
camouflaging, right?
Yeah. And the mom wants you to come alone because then your mom doesn't have to deal with worrying about that, whatever, the people judging or whatever the case that she's dealing with, because it's like, this is my kid and this is their partner and that's it. It's hard because you can't, I wish we could talk to mom and be like, accept your kid for who they are and whoever they have in their life. But
sometimes the parents have to accept who their offspring pick and accept them, that's the way they want to travel. That's the way they want to be. And they're a couple. And sometimes the kids have to think the same thing about their parents. It goes both ways.
And I really don't feel that you need to explain how bad the relationship was with Jim to get them
Jim's
to realize
gone.
it.
Jim's history.
Because that's another big piece of this is like, they miss Jim and it's because they don't know all the abuse and shit that went on.
Yeah. Mom, Jim is done. Jim was not my person. And I'm not going to go in depth about why not. But Jim is not my person. End of story. Don't even bring Jim up ever again.
Well, it's tough because I feel like the parents are looking at Jim as like almost the past that they want to look back to,
there might be some pain that she doesn't want to disclose to her parents, and that's up to her to make those choices. But the most important thing is when she says to mom and dad, don't bring up Jim. Jim is not a positive part of my life, and I'm not going to talk about it right now, but give it up. That's a defined boundary. If you want to talk about someone that's positive in my life, we can always talk about Lainey. She brings all the things into my relationship in my life that makes me feel full, complete, and whole. And if you can get that through your head, that's what you need to grasp. Wrap around your head that. Otherwise, I can't come around you because you're not accepting me for me.
Yeah.
And this goes with all relationships within families. They got to get the clue. End of story. It will make life always happier and easier. Yeah. And I went through this with my sister. I totally get it. We never, and by the way, my sister-in-law's name is Lainey. Yep. We love Lainey. Oh, we never not loved every aspect of Lainey. And the most important thing that we love about Lainey is that she brings my sister happiness.
Right.
And what do you want for the people you love? Happiness.
Yeah.
When you showed up in Morgan's life, how were you greeted?
With a margarita.
And happiness.
Yeah.
And you've never felt rejection in any way, shape, or form. You've always been welcomed with love, open heart,
mm-hmm.
and one of my own. Never anything less than that. And no matter what the occasion, no matter what it was, that's the way. And that's the way that these parents should treat Lainey.
It'd be really awesome if they could get there. I'm curious, anyone listening, if you've been in a similar situation, please give your advice for Sage here. That's always a lot more helpful than a lot of things we say. So we appreciate your help as well. Thank you. And on to the grand finale.
Number 6, let's go.
Number 6. Hi, Jerry, Morgan, and Justin. Longtime listener to both podcasts, first time write-in.
Love it.
I'm in a bit of a pickle financially. I just moved into my first home with my boyfriend. We are so excited, and the rent is really high. I had worked it out with my finances between being a first gen in grad school, getting my master's of social work, 3 jobs, and unsubsidized loans for school. I also have a pretty sizable chunk of savings, around $18,000 from my late grandmother. Everything was going pretty smoothly. Things were a bit tight, but overall manageable. However, last night I was rear-ended in a hit and run and my car was totaled. I am safe, but unfortunately, it's looking like I won't get more than a couple $100s from the junkyard. Public transportation isn't really an option here, so I'm not really able to work until I get another car. I'm between two options. Use my savings to get a newer, reliable car that will get me through grad school and through a good chunk of my career where I'll be able to work in my field. This will require me, most likely, to take out a subsidized loan to help me through the school year, knowing that when I graduate, I'll have a pretty high monthly loan payment, but will be able to have a job with a higher income. Or get a cheaper car, not adding any more additional loans to the mix, and banking on it lasting long enough so that I can build up savings again before I'm ready to get a more long-term vehicle. I don't really have anyone to talk to about finances and definitely do not know a single thing about loans. I'm also really worried about not pulling my weight financially in this new step in my relationship, and am overly cautious about being financially dependent at all on my boyfriend. I would really just love to hear any experience or advice you guys have. Thanks so much. Your podcast has dramatically helped me over the years, and especially now.
I know that there are cars out there that have very modest down payments and low payments. I've seen stuff for sometimes you get these crazy deals on new cars from some of the manufacturers are out there. You got to find those deals.
Yeah.
And some of them are a new car for $200 a month. It's crazy. And do I say, gee, go buy a car for $5,000 from a used cars dealer? I was a used car dealer. And I know that when you get into a used car that is what I would say would be safe, you're already up in the $10,000, $12,000 range when there's some cars out there that apparently are coming out that are going to be probably 16 grand new car that's fully financeable because they're trying to get rid of cars because cars are so tough right now to get rid of. There's an abundance of inventory. So you really need to go out and look at those opportunities. Be very, very, very cautious of the used car dealer where the car is $5,000 because typically that car costs them $1,000 or less. And it's going to come with maintenance. It's going to come with its issues. It's going to come that it might need a new engine in 3 months. And next thing you know is you got this huge bill. So I'm very leery of that stuff.
Yep.
I'd rather see you buy a new car because cars are pretty well disposable these days. They go for 5 or 10 years and then you toss them, they go back to the yard and they're thrown away. I take it that you did not have any hull coverage or insurance on your car that paid for something.
Or don't want to necessarily, it's tough, right? I think sometimes, especially with a hit and run, which is just terrible, it would end up going through your insurance, but then that raises all the premiums. It does all the things. So you kind of sit there and debate, well,
how much was the car worth?
Well, is this car, right? Is it even worth doing that and raising my premiums? Or should I just bite the bullet, realize I ended up in a shitty situation and just, choose the best path forward?
And like I said, we all make, good buys. We all make bad buys sometimes. But I know if you're not in the position to be able to fix things and you got the stuff, I would look for one of those, the new economy car, very low cost, and see what they're willing to carry you for, and see if you can find someone that can help you, put together what the right deal is. Read the comments. I am sure people are going to have some advice for you.
Yeah, well, and I think too, in recent years, cars have been just made really well at every level. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the difference is not whether your car is going to function or not. It's more how many bells and whistles and features do you need? Mm-hmm. But even the lower end cars are still made really well. Mm-hmm. I think all cars are made pretty damn well these days. So it's just, you might not get all the crazy features and the cooled seats and whatever else. But a big change in my life that I've thoroughly enjoyed is not having to take a car in,
get fixed
constantly And the second you fix one thing, the next thing breaks. Then you get on that rabbit hole and it becomes so expensive. And not to mention just the expense, it starts to take so much of your time. And nobody needs that. If you're able to get to the point where you can get something that's newer or brand new, and especially under warranty, it changes the game. Because I went from dealing with one of those cars almost ending up in a situation where I think to fix the car, it was going to be more than the car's worth. And then technically it's totaled. And then you just end up with this car that now is just this huge dead weight of an expense.
Was that the car that I took a chain to the front bumper and we pulled up?
So I went from that one, the 4Runner, to then the white car I had after. And that one was it was having carbon buildup in the engine, and we were approaching the timing chain situation. And the cost of all of that was getting close to what I paid for the car if I was going to do all that work. So that was one where I'm like, oh my God, I have to get out of this thing. And then after that, I spent a little bit of money, but I was able to get a simple car that was under warranty. I did get it used, but I got it with a few thousand miles on it. Life-changing.
Right.
Life-changing.
So back to where we are for her, find something that is newer or new. And I know that there are these economy cars that are coming out, these next generation cars. Look at all of them and see what the manufacturer is giving you for some amazing getting into the car and cheap, lease or cheap something to keep it where you can afford it and not keep, paying into the system. They may make you get insurance since you are not owning the car, you're going to lease it or have a payment.
Yep.
You're going to have to carry insurance because banks want to have insurance on a vehicle. Should the vehicle,
you got to do it either way.
Yeah,
no matter what, have the insurance. The ideal outcome: pick the safest option that will allow me to meet my needs between work and housing now, while setting up my future so I'm not facing a lifetime of debt. Additional info: I grew up in an extremely rural, lower class family. I've been blessed to have received a lot of scholarships throughout undergrad that has gotten me this far. I have very little understanding of loans, let alone cars or car loans, and just don't know what my options are and what I should do. And I think there's so much out there that you can do to research this: videos, articles, just Reddit, anything you can dive into to get some advice. Even post on Reddit, post your situation, say, hey, what are the best options for this? Everyone will come out and give their experience or say, this would be a great deal. Here's how the loan would work. Here's how this would work. Here's how much you'd end up paying over time. Here's how much you could pay up front. You'll get all sorts of amazing info.
Even in the comments on this, after we play this or this, it comes out this week, even in the comments, you can say, hi, I'm this person. If anyone has any suggestions, I'm reading this. And I guarantee you on that comment stream, you are going to get information. People are going to want to be there to help you.
Yeah.
And you'll get really good information. And the one thing that I am learning, and this is nothing against anybody that I'm trying to avoid stuff. I am finding out, as much as I used to think that I know everything, I found that I know less. So the topic of the show is Father Knows Something. Yeah, I know something. I don't know everything.
Right.
And so that's why I'm saying let's all help one another and give information. And we can certainly, almost like a blog, as we're reading these comments, we can say, sounds good, sounds bad. Good, good rabbit hole, bad rabbit hole. So Justin, is that the show? Are we going to go?
The end.
Are we going to the backyard?
Always in the backyard, of course.
So we'll see you on our Patreon, levels 1, 2. Is there a third level?
Guess we'll find out.
So come join us. We'll see you then. See you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.